The case of Decarlos Brown Jr., the man accused of the fatal stabbing of Ukrainian refugee Iryna Zarutska on a Charlotte light rail train, has become a significant national flashpoint. The decision by the U.S. Justice Department to pursue a federal death penalty eligible charge alongside state murder charges elevates the legal proceedings and underscores the intense public and political fallout from the brutal, unprovoked attack. Summary and analysis. The incident occurred in August on the Lynx Blue Line, where 23-year-old Iryna Zarutska, who had sought refuge in the U.S. to escape the war in Ukraine, was stabbed from behind while seated on the train. Surveillance footage of the attack intensified public outrage. The suspect, Decarlos Brown Jr., has a long criminal history with over a dozen prior arrests and a reported diagnosis of schizophrenia. He had been released without bail on a misdemeanor charge just months before the killing. The federal indictment for committing an act causing death on a mass transportation system is a calculated move by federal prosecutors. This charge carries a maximum penalty of death or life in prison, ensuring the case remains high profile and offering an additional path to a capital sentence beyond the state's first-degree murder charge, which is complicated by North Carolina's nearly two-decade-long pause on executions. The dual prosecution strategy reflects the government's intent to secure the severest possible punishment and address the national security and public confidence issues related to violence on mass transit. The central legal and ethical conflict in the case is the intersection of severe mental illness, which Brown's family attests to, and the demand for ultimate justice, which will likely be fought through a competency evaluation to determine if he is fit to stand trial. Reasons and consequences. Reasons for the federal charge and death penalty pursuit. Jurisdiction and maximum penalty. The crime occurred on a mass transportation system, granting the federal government jurisdiction. The federal charge of violence against a railroad carrier resulting in death carries the death penalty, a stronger deterrent signal than the stalled state execution process in North Carolina. Public and political pressure. The victim's status as a refugee seeking safety, coupled with the horrific nature of the attack caught on video, generated massive public and political outrage. Federal charges are seen as a decisive action to deliver swift justice and address claims of soft-on-crime policies. Prior system failures. Brown's extensive criminal history and revolving door through the justice system, including a recent release without bond despite mental health concerns, led officials to stress that local systems had failed. The federal intervention seeks to ensure Brown is permanently removed from society. Consequences of the case criminal justice reform. The most immediate consequence is the passage of Iryna'sLaw in North Carolina. This legislation aims to eliminate cashless bail for certain violent crimes, mandate judicial review of a defendant's criminal history, and increase mental health evaluations for defendants. It also includes provisions that could help restart executions in the state, making the case a legislative catalyst. Public transit safety overhaul. The killing shattered public confidence in the Charlotte area transit system. Consequently, officials have promised increased security personnel, more frequent fare inspections, and general security upgrades on the light rail. Mental health system scrutiny. The case highlighted glaring deficiencies in the state's ability to treat and monitor individuals with severe mental illnesses, particularly those in the criminal justice system who are non-compliant with treatment or deemed a danger. Brown's diagnosis of schizophrenia and prior court-ordered evaluations that were not completed underscore a widespread capacity crisis in forensic mental health services. Predictions and solutions. Prediction: a prolonged and complex legal battle. The involvement of the death penalty, combined with the defendant's documented history of schizophrenia, predicts a long and complex legal process. Competency challenge. The defense is highly likely to argue that Brown is incapable to proceed due to his mental state, which could halt the trial for months or years while he undergoes forced capacity restoration treatment. Insanity defense. Should he be deemed competent, the defense may pursue an insanity defense, arguing he could not distinguish right from wrong at the time of the crime due to his delusional beliefs. Death penalty delays. The death penalty element will trigger extensive appeals, likely delaying any final resolution for years, regardless of the verdict. Solutions for systemic change. To address the deep-seated issues exposed by this tragedy, solutions must target both the criminal justice and mental health systems. Reforming pre-trial release and bail. Implement Iryna'sLaw. Fully and effectively implement the new law's provisions to limit non-secured release for repeat violent offenders and those with serious mental health flags. Mandate timely evaluations. Establish legally enforceable timelines for forensic mental health evaluations, backed by increased funding and staffing for state facilities to prevent delays that release high-risk individuals. Strengthening mental health care infrastructure. Increase inpatient capacity, fund and open more long-term residential and inpatient treatment facilities for individuals with severe mental illness, particularly those prone to violence who exhibit anosognosia, lack of insight into their illness. Invest in outpatient programs. Expand assisted outpatient treatment programs to legally require and monitor medication and therapy for individuals with chronic illnesses released into the community. Enhancing public transit security. Visible deterrence. Increase the visible presence of both uniformed police and non-law enforcement safety ambassadors on light rail trains and platforms. Integrated social services. Pair security personnel with mental health and social work outreach teams to compassionately engage with and divert homeless or severely mentally ill individuals into appropriate services, rather than relying solely on arrest. The tragic death of Iryna Zarutska serves as a stark reminder of the urgent need to close the gaps in the criminal justice and public health safety nets, ensuring that individuals with severe mental health issues receive necessary care and that the public can trust in the security of mass transit.